Hey, what's up, everybody? Welcome to Read With Me. I am your host, Kelly Michelle. Read With Me is when we read together separately. I choose a book, we read that book for that month with the goal of reading 12 books per year. And so this month we have been reading The Let Them Theory by Mel Robbins. And so last time we went over chapters 9 and 10, and now we're going over chapters 11 and 12. And when we went over chapter 10, we hit the halfway through mark. So now we're halfway through the book and we're just moving forward until we finish the book. And as I said last time, if you have not picked up this book, it is not too late. Pick up the book wherever books are sold. You can get it from the library. There's audiobooks available. Get this book so that you can start reading. And you can go back to the old episodes and watch those and catch up where we are. So, as I always like to start, I like to share what section of the book these chapters are in. And so, this is in the section titled You and the Let Them Theory. And the subtitle is Overcoming Chronic. This is not in that section. I was reading the wrong section. It's the section titled Your Relationships and the Let Them Theory. Now that we've moved through half the book, we're now in a new section of the book. And so, again, it's titled Your Relationships and the Let Them Theory. And the subtitle of these chapters is Mastering Adult Friendships. Chapter 11 is titled The Truth No One Told You About Adult Friendships. And at number 12, chapter 12 is titled Why Some Friendships Naturally Fade. So let's get started talking about chapters 11 and chapters 12. And as I stated, chapter 11 is titled The Truth No One Told You About Adult Friendships. I really like the title of this chapter because it's really true. No one gives you a pep talk about how as life changes, that friendships also change. I mean, it's just a natural evolution, but there isn't some type of like seminar or book or website to prepare you for that. It's just the natural evolution, like I said, of life. But there is something to be shared and to reflect upon about how our lives change and our friendships change as we become adults. And so here are the three things that really stuck out to me. Number 1, 3 factors make great friendships possible. And they are proximity, timing, and energy. I agree with those. And I want to hear from you. Do you think there's also some factors that make great friendships possible? She identified 3 as proximity, timing, and energy. Is there something else that you would add to the list? I would love to hear from you. And then number 2, adult friendship is hard. And then number 3, friendships change from a group sport to individual one. And the example that she used in the book, which I thought was really something that I could relate to, and maybe you can relate to too, when she talks about friendships change from a group sport to individual ones. When you're younger, it's all about, and even when you're older too, but when you're younger, there's like some established kind of friendship groups that naturally happen. So for example, for me, I played sports in, probably starting in middle school into high school. And so when you're on a sports team and you're, traveling to different events. Like I ran track. So you're traveling to track meet, you're having practices every day after school. Those people naturally become friends or naturally become your friend group because of that commonality that you have. So I really do believe this to be true. And so as you get older, I'm still not running track. And so I haven't kept in touch with the people from my high school that I ran track with. I was not a collegiate athlete either. So I didn't form those bonds around sports in college either. And so what changes is that you had that group when you were younger. And so now that group no longer exists. And it becomes more challenging to keep in touch unless you're really intentional. Sometimes within those groups, there's people that I grew up with that are lifers for me and that they are my lifelong friends and we kept in touch. But the majority of people that I played sports with, I don't keep in touch with anymore. And so that's what she was talking about, how it became a group sport and now it's more individual. Moving on to chapter 12, which is titled, Why Some Friendships Naturally Fade. And number 1 is how quickly, these are my takeaways. Number 1, how quickly or how often someone responds is not a sign of how much they care about you. I am going to repeat that again because that, when I read that, it stuck right here in my heart. It really, really touched me, and I could resonate with that. How quickly or how often someone responds is not a sign of how much they care about you. Number 2, before walking away from a friendship, assume good intent of the other person. And I'll pause really quickly there before I read number 3, is that it is so easy to get in our minds and think that, the other person is not responding to us because of whatever thought our mind has created about them. And I think it was a very good point. And again, with these statements, they're not all blanket statements. There's definitely, people have different circumstances and situations. There are times when you're actually very accurate about why someone is not responding to you, or you need to sever yourself from that relationship because it is toxic. In this example, I'm not talking about toxic friendships or relationships. I'm talking about merely how sometime in our lives we get very busy or we get very distracted, or something has happened where we are not as intentional about our friendships and as responsive as we once were. And so this point number 2 is saying, assume the best of the person, especially if you know their character and who they are. Maybe there's something that you don't know that is causing them to, not be as attentive to the friendship. And then number 3 is feel the feelings when friendships look different, and then let them. And that goes back to a couple of segments ago where I was talking about sitting in your emotions, right? And I was saying how my therapist would say to me, Kelly, sit in your emotions, be able to describe your emotions. There was a feeling wheel that we would go through in our therapy sessions, and I would pinpoint, hey, this is the feeling that I have, and be able to describe it. And I would sit in my emotions and feel everything, and then be able to move forward. And that's the same thing with friendships. I know that over the years, friends have come and gone, And it can be really difficult. I mean, especially when there are really close friends and sometimes there's no closure as to why the friendship has changed. And the same thing is true with feel the feelings about that friendship. Give yourself time to grieve the friendship. Give yourself time to have all the emotions about the friendship. And what is helpful for me and what I still do is I like to journalize. We already talked about before that I always have a notebook with me when I'm like reading these books, but I like to journalize because it gives me a way to have an outlet for my thoughts and my feelings. And so sometimes in friendships, we need to feel all the feelings that we feel about the friendships and then let them. And what we've learned so far about let them is just let it be. Let it be what it is. Let them do what it is that they're going to do. And then it's let me. Let me be able to respond in a way that's best for me. And so those are my takeaways from chapter 11 and 12. Next time, we'll be going over chapters 13 and 14. I really hope that you are enjoying this channel and I hope that you are enjoying this book. Couple of things before I sign off on this episode. Take some time to read today. If you are enjoying this episode, please like, share, comment, and subscribe. Invite a friend to join our virtual book club. Thank you so much for going on this journey with me, reading together separately. And until next time, happy reading.